Hey y'all. So, I am going to be doing a YouTube video on this because I've been dying to do a video talking about this forever. But I feel like now is the time to do it because I feel like even though I still gain new insight from listening to the album, I feel like now it's more relevant in my life than it ever was. So if y'all don't know what I'm talking about The Rope 25th anniversary of Janet Jackson's Velvet Rope album, okay? Which in my opinion is the best Janet Jackson album ever, in my opinion, next to the Janet album. The album deals with a lot of serious issues. I mean, Janet always tackled different issues such as racism and children and education, and but this album has to be like the most, like, if you really wanted to know who Janet Jackson was and you did not want to watch that docu-series, listen to Velvet Rope. You're going to get all your questions answered. um the album deals with depression, anxiety, separation anxiety, domestic, well, not even just domestic violence, it could just abuse, period, childhood trauma, um telepathically communicating. It has twin flame messages in the album too. I don't know if Jan was on back then, but yeah, a lot of different stuff. The whole album is fire. The entire album. I will be buying the deluxe version, although I probably, it has to be some unreleased stuff that she didn't release because I heard all the unreleased stuff. Whatever. Anyway, I'm still gonna buy it anyway. Um, for one, I first came across the album when I was 16. Might have been 15, but I was a teenager. And if y'all know me, I've been a big fan of Janet since the age of 4. Okay, doesn't really matter was the first video I ever watched. Technically, Scream was the first video I ever watched, but if you want to like talk about Janet's video, then that's the first one. Um, I actually appreciate Janet way before I knew who Michael was. Okay, of course I love Michael Jackson. You're not gonna, okay, but I didn't know who Michael Jackson was until Janet. So growing up, so yeah, so like I remember the Super Bowl and all of that. We're not even gonna talk about that. Okay, we're not gonna. But that's how far I go back. 2000. Okay. I came across this album when I was a teenager. I was a bum out here. I was a bum. Didn't care about school. Really, I should have been listening to Rhythm Nation back in the day. But I I no, I didn't listen to the Velvet Rope, not Velvet Rope, Rhythm Nation until later on. That was after I got my stuff together. But I came across Velvet Rope, and I remember watching an interview when Janet was promoting her True You book. That's another thing I would ask you to read. It's not the True You book is not really an autobiography, but she does share stories from her childhood and stuff. Because the story really is about like weight loss and weight gain, and going back to where that stems from. As we all know, Janet Jackson, when it comes to weight, people are very critical of her. Um, but she was promoting a book, and she was just talking about how depressed she was, and you could have everything in life and it still won't be satisfying to you. Talk about her childhood and things like that. And I remember watching it as a teenager, and I'm like, you're Janet Jackson. You're Janet Jackson. What do you mean you were depressed? What do you mean you don't think you're beautiful? Like what? But I felt like spiritually I related to her because I remember she was talking about this exercise she did when she was in her 30s or just her late 20s, early 30s, where a friend told her to look into the mirror and find something that you like. And she said that she would cry because she didn't find anything that she liked. And then later on, she liked I always remember sway of her back and her smile. I tried that exercise as a teenager, and I remember getting very upset, getting very pissed off because I had the lowest self esteem, being like nothing about me at all, nothing, nothing about me. When I heard the album, don't get it twisted. I've heard songs off the album before when I was younger, but the only song I heard was "I Get So Lonely" because it used to play on the radio all the time. The remix, the Blackstreet remix specifically, used to play all the time. Um, I heard the album and I loved it when I was a teenager, but I didn't understand the message. Like I never understood why did she call it the Velvet Rope? Like why does she have songs like Together Again, and why did, if it's about, death, why is it so cheerful, um why is she so depressed? Like I don't get it. Why was she depressed during this time, and then if you watch interviews like that she did during this time, you can see that she's definitely doing some shadow work, and there's definitely something going on, definitely will live maybe settling some traumas and clearing some cycles, breaking some cycles. But as I got older and I started, like, usually around this time, not because it's the 20th, the 25th anniversary or whatever, but usually around this time when I'm doing shadow work, didn't even know it was shadow work back then, because this whole album was Janet doing shadow work, this whole entire album, okay? I would listen to it and I would get something different every time. There's one song in particular that I actually would like to get quoted on me, a tattoo. Um, she says in the song Special, she says you can't run away from your pain because wherever you run, there you will be. You have to learn to water your spiritual garden and then you'll be free. I want the you have to learn to water your spiritual garden and then you'll be free. I want that tatted on me. But for the life of me, I didn't know what she was talking about when I was younger. I didn't know what she was talking about. Spiritual garden, what? What is she talking about? And you know what? It took me a long time to figure out that she was basically talking about self love, and really going within, because that's what the whole album is about. She called it the Velvet Rope because sometimes, when you see a velvet rope, you think of a club, a very exclusive club. Only certain people can get in, or maybe nobody can get in. And sometimes when we have our guard up and we keep people from knowing who we are, sometimes we don't know who we are. And we have questions that need to be answered. And sometimes to answer those questions, you have to go within yourself and find that specialness within you. And we all have many different sides to us: a happy side, sad side, um, dark side, or shadow side, I like to call it, sexual side. That's pretty much what the Janet album was about, like going within yourself and just, you know, finding what makes you you and what makes you stand out from everyone else. And that's another reason why I love the song Free Zone. The song Free Zone is about homophobia. Um, he was on the airplane sitting next to this guy. Said he wasn't too shy and he seemed really nice. Till he found out he was gay. That's so not mellow. And back then, being gay or being a lesbian, even being trans, pan, very taboo. Okay. And basically the song, I take it as like, be who you want to be. You be you. Whatever that is that makes you you, be you. It's your world. You don't you the rule is you there are no rules. And that's pretty much what the song is about. It's about homophobia, loving whoever you want to love, and just being respectful, and also just being yourself. And I feel like with social media, I feel like we're taking a step backwards because we got people trying to, do things and get certain surgeries and have certain amounts of money just to fit in and to look good for social media. When really you should just be happy, just live your own world and do what you want to do. You know, you don't have to conform to the standards on social media. And I'm not saying nothing's wrong with getting surgery and wanting the finer things in life. You should want the finer things in life. And as far as surgery goes, I'm gonna do a whole video talking about body positivity, but because I feel like a lot of y'all are hypocrites, especially when it comes to surgery. Hypocrites because they are getting as long as they know their reasons on why they're getting the surgery and they're just doing it because they want to, it's their world, they do what they want to do, then it's just like you shaming them for doing what they want to do. That's like the opposite of what you're trying to preach. But I'm gonna do a video on it, don't worry about it. But yeah, that's pretty much what the song is about. What about is about, well, abuse. Okay, it could range from all types, psychological abuse, um domestic violence, emotional abuse. um just listening to that song and just remember being in situations with friends and even ex-lovers or potential lovers and how they played mind games with me, and and they were narcissistic, and the gaslighting and everything, the manipulation, the silent treatments. I can go on and on. Janet hit every nail in the book. Every nail in the book. What? Hit every nail on the wall. She did though. You know what I'm trying to say? Like she hit it. Everything. Rope burn. That's about sexual desires and secret fetishes and whatnot. Before the song Discipline that she made, there was Rope Burn, okay? That was the first one, okay? Um every time every time was one of those songs that I used to skip when I was younger. I did listen to it, but I'm like, I don't know, it sounds too much like Again, but it's like part two to Again. I love that song now because it's kind of the state of where I was like when I started dating. Just being scared to really give myself completely to a person and to really fall in my femininity with the opposite sex because I don't want to get hurt and I don't want to get taken advantage of. And I know there's only one person that I will do that for, and that's my twin flame. If you're not my, I mean, it is what it is. I don't care what y'all say. Anyway, but that whole album is a bop. That whole thing is a bop. Janet. That's like Janet looked her best in my opinion. Yes, the Janet era. Yes, I know. Like she looked good there too. But the Velvet Rope era, that's when Janet really did not care. Like she got tattoos, piercings, her hair was red. She really did not care. She started living her life for her. I will be doing a whole video on YouTube just analyzing the album instead of like speaking from a personal point of view. I wanted to speak from a listener's point of view. So, but yeah, if y'all haven't listened to the album, I suggest you do. It's her best album, it's her best work. Let me know what y'all favorite song is. Um, Another song I wanted to mention was Empty. I love that song Empty because it's about talking to someone online, but you never met them. It'd be telepathically as well. Twin flame related, possibly. I don't know. But I will see you guys later. Check the album out if you haven't already. I'm telling you, you would not be disappointed. Okay, that's my favorite album of all time, hands down. Love you, Janet. Bye, guys.